Okay, so we have a few exercises here working on trunk mobility and strength. We're going to start with our quadruped trunk rotations. And so we can be here on our hands and knees, just feeling a strong, stable base, strong into the hands, even weight distribution from front to back and side to side. We're going to take one hand to the sternum and then just rotate and look towards the ceiling. We're only moving as far as it feels comfortable to turn. We can drop all the way in to rotation in the opposite direction, and then again press into this rotation. So we can inhale here, exhale here. As you turn up, it's important to try to kind of peel your shoulder blades to a broad position, especially this bottom arm. If you can kind of open that shoulder blade up and away from the chest, it's going to help you to get deeper into your range. Okay, we'll do that to the other side. From there, we're going to come onto a prone on elbows position, and we're going to do a plank from knees as kind of a dynamic exercise, almost like an upside down abdominal crunch. So we're here with the elbows directly underneath the shoulders. We're going to get those shoulders kind of broad, and then we're going to get a little tension into the glutes. And so in this position, you'll feel your hips and pelvis push into the ground. Take a breath in, exhale, and try to push the ground away with your forearms. And we want to think not about raising the hips up, but raising the mid-back. So think about an area just below the shoulder blades that you're pressing up towards the ceiling. And you're just getting really heavy into the forearms and elbows on the ground and maintaining that squeeze in the hips. So the same pressure in the glutes, almost as though you're going to lift your legs straight off the ground here. You're maintaining that tension in the glute muscles as you press up and down. Exhaling into this position. Okay, from there, we can come back to our cat-cow, and so this will just be a relatively more relaxed exhale, inhale, and then we're going to come into a few positions that we can do from our back. So we're first going to look at a bridge, starting by tilting the pelvis and taking the tailbone up towards the ceiling. You can feel this takes the pelvis off the ground and kind of initially just presses the upper part of the pelvis or the very lowest part of your back into the ground. And then from there, continuing to kind of peel up segment by segment off the ground, and then return segment by segment back to the ground. Be aware, do you have any segments that seem to come down as a bit of a chunk, or do you end up returning with the pelvis before you were able to get the low back to the ground? So we want to really kind of sequential motion, rolling that contact point back down to the ground, and then rolling it up and away. And in this way, it can help you with both your strength and coordination and mobility for that region of the spine. relative rest, coming into a happy baby position. You can use your index and middle finger to grab onto the big toe and just encircle that big toe. You want to get your shins vertical, and we have the knees and feet are slightly wider than shoulder width apart. The hamstrings can be engaged slightly as though you're going to pull your heels away from you. But instead what happens is by using that force, it kind of pulls the tailbone up and off the ground. And so we end up in this position where the low back is somewhat rounded. Shoulder blades can be pressing up and away from the ground as well. And that makes you very heavy with your mid-back into the ground. Once we have this position, we just want to breathe really deeply. Big inhales targeting expansion and 360 degrees into the rib cage, and especially into the area where you feel a stretch, which may be your low back in this case. From there, we can continue work in this position using a dead bug. So we're going to take those shoulder blades, take the arms up towards the ceiling, use the abdominals to pull the front of the pelvis up towards the rib cage. Inhale as you extend one leg out and arm, and then exhale as you return. So this is the opposite arm and leg. Now, we don't need to necessarily go full range of movement on this at first. If it's difficult to maintain that connection with the ground from your mid-back to low back, we want to stop before the low back comes away from the ground. But if that's all right, you continue on. Okay? But yeah, if you find that it's going to come away a little bit, you just want to go maybe something like that and then come back. So that's a nice modification. Okay, so we want to do about 5 of those on each side. Alright, and that's a nice little circuit. So in total, we can go through that once. As we become a little stronger, we can go through it twice, maybe in the second week, and maybe 3 times through in the third week. Okay, so that's a great little circuit for building some mobility and strength into the trunk.